Welcome back, guys!
Welcome back to Hakuoki Kyoto Wins.
We're about to murder people!
The game that is to the Shinsengumi what The Greatest Showman is to the life of P.T. Barnum.
And guess what? It's war time!
We, the Shinsengumi-kun, are reporting as requested by Lord Katamori Matsudaira, the Lieutenant General of the Aizu.
He didn't put kun at the end of the thing that was obviously a name.
I know!
Katamori Matsudaira.
Kun.
The ninth generation daimyo of the Aizu domain. He holds the position of Kyoto military commander. Katamori Matsudaira was the lord of the Aizu domain and also the Kyoto military commissioner, which made him a very important person. His name would have been immediately recognized. The man standing near the gate looked slightly taken aback by the mention of the Shinsengumi.
You were told to report here, but we received no such orders.
No, that didn't make any sense. What? Perhaps sensing my confusion, Saito leaned over and whispered under his breath.
If they haven't received notice of our orders, lines of communication are likely in disarray.
No
Do
fun.
you mean that Choshu was overpowering the shogunate's forces?
Not necessarily. However, I do suspect the enemy to be doing well.
This could be tricky. The Judiciary Commissioner and the Military Commissioner had similar organizations, but they operate very differently. The Military Commissioner's office was under the jurisdiction of the Aizu domain, while the Kuwana domain controlled the Judiciary Commissioner. Kuwana domain governed by Sadaki Matsudaira, the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner. I didn't fully understand the relationships between each domain, but so far as I knew, the Aizu and Kuwana weren't quite fond of one another.
Nonetheless, our assistance has been formally requested. If you could only speak to your supervi...
It wouldn't make a difference. Now get! We have no use for Mibu's wolves.
Wolves of Mibu, a nickname given to the men who would later become the Shinsengumi. It was both a reference to their reputation and an alternate spelling of Miburo, meaning Ronin of Mibu. How terrible. And after they'd asked for the Shinsengumi's help. I felt Harada's hand on my shoulder and turned to look up at him.
Forget about them. This isn't anything to make a fuss about. We get this sort of crap all the time.
But this is so galling. I wasn't truly a member of the Shinsengumi, but even so. After living with the Shinsengumi men and watching how they worked, I couldn't bear to see how they were treated, which is why this felt wrong to me. Everyone at the Shinsengumi has worked so hard to maintain peace in Kyoto. How could these people who are supposed to be our allies turn us away without a second thought?
I appreciate the gesture, but I'm gonna need you to toughen up for me if you can. If we throw a fit here, then we might hurt Aizu's reputation. You get it?
Oh. The Kuwana would only need to complain that the Shinsengumi hadn't shown them proper respect to make trouble for the Aizu. All of the men, including Harada, understood what needed to be done, and they endured.
That's the name of the game. This is Japan, after all.
Japan.
There's nothing we can do here, Chief. We should leave the magistrate alone and meet with the Aizu domain's men on our own.
Saito's suggestion to Kondo was rudely interrupted by Takeda.
Us? Leave? What's the point of ignoring a military command in the battlefield? Chief, everyone knows that messengers get delayed during war. Leaving now would be foolish. I think we should remain here on standby.
If this location were a camp to which we were stationed, then maybe you'd be making sense. Unfortunately, it is not, and it would be wise for us to act in the best interests of the Shinsengumi.
Do you dare oppose my opinion? An opinion, mind you, from the Shinsengumi's war counselor? Cool it. Saito brings up a good point.
Kondo nodded deeply as he glanced at Saito.
We, the Shinsengumi, will officially look for the camp that military... We, the Shinsengumi, will officially look for the camp that Military Commissioner is constructing. That's his name now, Military Commissioner.
That's his title. And with that, the Shinsengumi set off to find the soldiers of the Aizu domain. Night had fallen by the time we arrived at Kujo Beach. Kujo Beach, a location near what is now referred to as Kanjin Bridge on the Kamo River. After leaving the Fushimi Magistrate's office, we made for the Aizu Manor. Upon arriving, we relayed our previous encounter and asked for new orders. Aizu Domain Residence, a Buddhist temple in Kyoto used as the base for the Aizu Domain. The Shinsengumi rented a portion of the Konkai Komyo in Kurotani. The manor official we met with directed us to Kujo Beach, which we did. However, he's me.
What? What? This is Shinsengumi to join us? We received no such order. I apologize, but could you speak with the commander at the...
Nagakura seemed to tolerate no more of this.
What the hell? He was the one who told us to come here, goddammit!
Sorry, Sammy.
You wanna fuck us over? Fine, but you're gonna be disobeying a direct order from your superior, pal. You really wanna do that?
Yeah, there's a lot more cursing in this version of the game, apparently.
Please, calm down. I don't know what you...
The man flinched and shivered, then fell silent. Kondo did his best to assume a professional air, but there was no hiding his massive grin.
I would like to speak to your commanding officer. Do you think you might be able to take it to him?
Take me to
Take me to him?
Take it to him.
Stick it to him.
At last, after a great deal of trouble, we were allowed to remain with the troops at Kujo Beach. The chief and the captains left the rest of us to speak with the Aizu commanders. They returned sometime later looking tired and drained. Inoue, who'd gone with them, also wore a bitter sort of half-smile.
Well, it would seem that the men stationed here are reserves and not the main force of their army. Their main force has been committed to the defense of Hamaguri Gate.
Hamaguri Gate, one of the western gates of the imperial estate. It is protected by the allied forces of Aizu, Kuwana, and Satsuma. They're treating the Shinsengumi like reserves?
Then why the hell did they send us a message acting like this was some sort of emergency?
We can't predict what might happen. Battle may soon approach us. There is little to do but wait.
So, all we can do is wait. There was a chance that the call could come at night, so the men stayed awake, ready to act.
Just let us know if you need to rest a bit, Makoto. You're always welcome to sleep in my lap.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Harada laughed as I shook my head. It wouldn't be fair for me to be the one to sleep. The men had to remain alert, anticipating that they could face death at any moment. But unfortunately, I still passed out. Anxiety wrapped around me until I slept near dawn. The men, however, were vigilant through the night. Even as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I could see them nearby, persisting against the night. The break of dawn burned my eyes as I heard it. A cannon?! The crack of a gunshot tore through the morning air, and in the distance I heard men shouting and the clang of metal. The fighting had begun. The captains looked at one another and nodded.
It's time we left.
I stared at him for a moment, perhaps not yet fully awake, until I understood what he was saying. Right. With a quick nod, I readied myself to go, then...
Stop! What do you think you're doing? We were ordered to stay here!
Did you just tell me to stop?
Even during our lengthy march the day before, I'd never seen Hijikata mad. Maybe, because of his position as commander, he was afraid to express himself when his temper flared up, but it looked as if he reached his limit. Normally, he left the yelling to Nagakura and stayed patient when speaking with army officials. This time, however, he finally had enough.
I thought your job here was to protect the Imperial estate, but you'd rather sit on your fat ass.
Imperial estate, the Emperor's residence.
Wow, such matter of fact.
Such riveting information.
Wow, it's like that dictionary entry was totally necessary.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
know,
it wasn't. How
just-
the fuck did that?
Just wouldn't be the same game without it, man. It's like you
Nope.
get rid of that and the whole game falls apart. You can't even call it
You need the
Hakuoki.
whole fucking dictionary just to spread eagle on you on shit.
Okay, we're done. We're here to stop those Choshu assholes from attacking. Tell me, what are the Choshu doing? Tell me!
Wrong voice. But we haven't received any orders.
Hijikata was in no mood for excuses.
If you've got any kind of pride in your job, then forget your goddamn orders and move!
Without even waiting for a response, Hijikata spun around and stalked off, fuming. Where are you going? I didn't dare raise my voice above a whisper. Where are you going?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? What is happening? I'm very confused. I just woke up. But I asked Saito, who was walking near me.
To the enemy, which in this case means Hamaguri Gate. Hamaguri Gate.
Hamaguri Gate? You mean where Aizu's main force is protecting, right?
The battle at the gate is likely going to be an intense one. You'd better prepare yourself.
Alright. I'm gonna die. Hijikata's fury seemed to rouse the Aizu's reserve, who up to this point seemed flustered by the threat of conflict, watching the Shinsengumi march. At the end, they followed the Shinsengumi to Hamaguri Gate. Before long, we'd arrived. Oh my gosh. The gate was pockmarked with scores of bullets, and everywhere dead and dying soldiers littered the ground. The acrid stink of firearms hung in the air. Even though I tried to prepare myself mentally for what lay before me, my heart shattered from the traces of war occurring ahead. The enemy, however, was nowhere to be seen. We had arrived too late. The battle was already over. After a moment of stunned silence, several of our men were dispatched by Hijikata to determine what happened. Then Kondo sighed.
What are the Choshu thinking? They've raided the Imperial estate! I find it difficult to know what they're doing. How do they claim to be an Imperialist domain?
Kondo simply nodded. The Choshu defined themselves as among those who revered the Emperor, yet they attacked his home. It didn't make sense to me either. Nevertheless, the damage was done. I was in the middle of pondering their reasons when Saito returned to me.
It appears the Choshu attacked Hamaguri in the early morning, but were repelled by the combined forces of the Aizu and Satsuma.
Satsuma Domain, a domain governed by an opposition daimyo named Shimazu. They initially supported imperial unification, but they eventually allied with Choshu in the interest of removing the shogun. The forces standing against them were too much for the Choshu, who were forced to retreat. The corner of Hijikata's mouth curled into a grin.
So, Satsuma is helping Aizu now, are they? Times sure are changing. Considering their less-than-friendly past, it would seem the Choshu became their common foe.
The Satsuma and Aizu domains hadn't been on the best of terms. I thought that they outsmarted the family domain and allied with the imperial court to expel foreigners. Family domain, a domain ruled by a son of the Tokugawa clan. However, I recall my father telling me that they were not much different than the Choshu. Unlike the Choshu, however, they'd gone to war with a foreign force and suffered a devastating loss. Following their defeat, I learned the Satsuma began to reconsider their nationalistic stance. However, these were only rumors, and what had come to pass had yet to be fully determined.
Hijikata, supposedly there are still some of those Choshu bastards fighting over at the Kuge Gate.
Kuge Gate, a location now referred to as the Inui Gate and Matsuyama Castle. I don't remember his voice. Hijikata's expression changed as he considered Harada's words, but before he could open his mouth to speak, Yamazaki appeared. I think it's, Crom? He should be in the Shinsengumi. Yamazaki. There he is. Crom.
Commander, we believe the men who led this raid are headed for Mount Tenno.
Tenno Mountain, an important, heavily traveled location in the southern part of Kyoto. It is adjacent to the Setsu province. Mount Tenno was located between Kyoto and Osaka. Supposedly, they're in the middle of escaping from Fushimi towards Osaka. After hearing the report from both Harada and Yamazaki, Hijikata contemplated deeply. Although Kondo was recognized as the formal head of the Shinsengumi, I'd learned from everyone that all major decisions were deferred to Hijikata. This was no exception, and I could see that all eyes were on him. He was silent for a few moments, and then I saw his mouth curve into a small smile.
Looks like our work's cut out for us, boys. Harada, take your men to Kuge Gate to deal with those Choshu bastards.
Sure thing, boss.
Saito, Yamazaki, I want you to figure out what the situation is here. Hold Hamaguri Gate. As you wish. Got it. Your job's a tough one, Chief. I know this is a bitch, but I want you to speak with the Aizu bigwigs about a punitive expedition.
So, punitive expedition for the Choshu, right?
Some of those bastards are headed for Tenno, but others will run around and cause trouble. If we're gonna go after them, then we'll need to leave Kyoto, and only you can get us those papers.
The Shinsengumi were entrusted with the protection of Kyoto, and if this war was for aiding the Aizu, then they had to do more than just guard the gate. Leaving our post, however, to chase after the Choshu troops meant that we needed permission from the military commissioner, meaning the Aizu.
I see. If it's the chief of the Shinsengumi, the commissioner's office will listen to what we want.
After what we'd gone through the day before, I didn't imagine Kondo's task would be an easy one. Still, if the representative was anyone other than Kondo, the Aizu would be unlikely to grant the request, let alone entertain the notion of a meeting.
Again, I want you to go with him. Somebody has to keep an eye on our chief, alright?
Of course. I'll do my best, Commander.
Another laugh ran through the soldiers, and Kondo's mouth twisted into a wry sort of grin. Perhaps he chose not to deny it because he knew he might go a little crazy.
The rest of you are coming with me to Tenno. As for you...
He looked directly at me. I wasn't a warrior, nor did I have political ties. Hijikata didn't know what to do with me. Suddenly I felt very much like dead weight.
You can't go with Kondo, but other than that, it's up to you.
Alright. Kondo was meeting with the leaders of the Aizu. If I joined him, there would be nothing for me. I had many options for what I could do. Hijikata would be pursuing the leaders of the Choshu attack toward Tenno Mountain. Saito would be staying at Hamaguri Gate to protect it and to gather information. Harada and his men would be going to Kuge Gate to stop the attack on the Imperial Estate. The question was, where would I go? There was no question. I would go with Hijikata and chase after Ronin heading for Mount Tenno. Despite Fushimi being quite a distance away, soldiers moved at a rapid pace. It was hard for me to keep up, and I was beginning to run short of breath when I saw someone. He was standing in front of us, shadows obscuring his face and clothes, cloaked in a strange aura. Hijikata seemed to sense it too, and he motioned for the men to halt. The Shinsengumi stopped, save for one man, who was either too excited or too foolish to heed the commander. I saw a momentary flash of steel as the man yelped.
Hey! What the hell is this? You okay?
The man just laid there, unresponsive. I could see thick red blood already beginning to pool around him. Taken aback at first by the sudden attack, the men all turned now to glare at the stranger. Said,
Ah, judging by those jackets, you're Shinsengumi. Acting like you're the 47 Ronin, huh? Boorish as always.
Are you okay?
Yes.
I'm not getting you sick, am I?
No.
They were already on edge, but the man's words only made the men more agitated. I'd heard from the men that they had their reasons for wearing their uniforms. They wanted desperately to pay the strange man back for his taunts and for attacking their brother, but they knew now was no time for revenge.
First, you got in my way at Hijikata, and now you're all trying to play the good guy around here. So the peasants haven't had their fill of defeat yet. Excuse me, you aren't even samurai, are you? I'd turn back if I were you, unless you like the thought of coughing up blood like your friend over here.
As he spoke, I felt the air begin to thicken with the rage of the Shinsengumi.
You're the swordsman from Ikeda that beat Soji. I heard you were quite a swordsman, but those are pretty big words from such a little man. Okay.
Okay, Travis, I hope everything's okay. See you later.
Bye.
Hijikata's smile was anything but warm.
I'd heard you were talented for peasants, but this sorry display tells me it was all for show.
He laughed at the sight of the man he'd just slain.
Ha 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 ha! That man from the inn. Okta, was it? Far too weak to be considered a real duelist. Swordsman.
Okay, well, when you said something came up, it made it sound like something bad happened. Hijikata's teeth were now almost completely bared. I knew Okta wasn't weak at all, and I wanted to tell him so, but it was true that he had been injured.
Insult Soji all you want, but how about you tell us why you killed this man first?
I heard the soft hiss of Nagakura's sword sliding from its scabbard. At his feet lay the man who'd been attacked, his face now an odd pale color. I wept for his spirit.
If I don't like what I hear, then I'm gonna kill you right here! To defend your warrior's pride, the Shogun says jump and you say how high? Why are you pursuing men who have lost and fled the battlefield? Don't you know they've already fled from Mount Tenno to take their own lives?
What? Was he telling the truth? Did the Choshu men commit honorable suicide? I looked over at Hijikata and the rest of his men, but not one of them looked surprised. The man in front of us was trying to stop the Shinsengumi in an attempt to protect the pride of the Choshu samurai, which is what had upset him. From his point of view, I could see why he felt right in what he was doing, but that gave him no right to kill someone just to prove a point. Is it really alright to take a man's life for the sake of someone else's pride? Only you can protect your own pride. Letting others control the value of something important to you will only hurt you later on. How can someone keep their pride if they expect someone else to fight for it?
Your sentiment has some truth to it. Are you saying I should simply allow the Shinsengumi to pilfer any pride that Choshu have left, just to gain merit for arresting them?
He did not sound amused. No, that's not really what I meant, but under that crimson glare, my voice trailed off.
Pathetic. I thought you were trying to make some kind of point, stranger, but you're just whining like a petulant child. This is war, you idiot.
What?
The man spoke through clenched teeth, and the knuckles of his sword hand turned white.
They started a pointless fight, didn't have the balls to see it through, and then ran away with their balls tucked.
That's not what that says.
And then ran away with their tails tucked. These cowards don't deserve honor. They're all spineless traitors. You think a man like that deserves an honorable death? They'll die with their goddamn guts and heads in the dirt.
You mean to say they should have been prepared to die for their cause when they went to war?
Is that really such an absurd concept to you? Any man who starts a fight he isn't willing to die for doesn't know what it means to be a warrior. Let's say they do have some scrap of pride left. Wouldn't dying in battle be better than dying on your own sword?
Hijikata's own concepts of pride and honor was not something he could easily compromise. No matter how long he and the stranger spoke, I also knew that they would never see eye to eye. Hijikata drew his sword from its scabbard, and I saw Nagakura drop into a fighting stance. Hijikata's eyes narrowed, and after muttering something angry under his breath, Nagakura stepped back and put his blade back in its sheath.
You don't look like a coward to me, so I figure you're ready to finish what you started when you killed one of my men.
Big words from a small man. Do you honestly believe you can defeat me?
In an instant, their swords met, and the clang of metal reverberated through the mid-afternoon air. They sprang apart, eyes fixed on one another, and I saw Hijikata's hands tighten on his sword. The commander's swordsmanship seemed without a true rival, but this man had defeated Okta.
Battle music.
I saw Nagakura reach for his own sword. He was to leap into the fight as well, probably hoping to help Hijikata gain the upper hand. When I saw him about to pounce, I couldn't help but scream. No, Nagakura, you can't! This fight wasn't why the Shinsengumi came here. Hijikata's troops' mission was to follow the Choshu rebels to Mount Tenno. There could be no doubt that the strange swordsman was an enemy, and a dangerous one. We might have needed our whole force to defeat him. Hijikata, however, would never let us abandon our mission out of fear of losing, especially after his speech. Nagakura could see this mysterious man was quite powerful, and after a few moments spent grinding his teeth, he took his hand off his sword.
Hey, Hijikata, I'm gonna take your guys for a bit if that's alright with you.
Big mouth over here. They're yours, Shinpachi. Time's up.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess that means that's where we're ending with this episode.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Will Hijikata survive his fight with this mysterious stranger?
He better. We're on his route.
Will we catch up to the Choshu troops before they end their own lives?
I don't care so much about that part.
Ouch.
Who is this mysterious stranger?
Who is going to win? Are they going to stop people from taking their lives and doing honorable senbeiku?
Thank you for repeating every one of Kage's cliffhangers.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye!
Hey guys, do you like our content? Do you want to support the show? Click the link in the description below to visit our donation page. All proceeds go towards new and better equipment and games you want to see us play. Everyone who donates will get a special shout out at the end of future videos, and we're currently working on setting up some special perks for you. If you don't want to donate, that's okay too. You can support us by subscribing and clicking that bell icon so you get notified whenever we put out a new video. A huge thank you to Kyle Sheridan for donating and helping to keep our show going. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you'd like to find out how I ended up in Kyoto, click the box on the left to check out last episode.
Or, if you'd like something a little different, head to that box on the right to check out Saving Throw, where the members of Revolutionary Productions play through ridiculous adventures in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Seriously, go check it out. That's an order.
Hijikata? You can't just order the viewers around.
I can if they're all like you.